Welcome to SerpentSong Sanctuary. I'm Xanna Seto, and I am so glad you're here. I know that I've already put out a video this week. However, I was scrolling through my Facebook feed today, and a friend of mine posted a question wanting to know how to make a pumpkin pie filling without eggs. I cannot pass up this challenge. So Katie, this video is for you. We are going to make pumpkin pie vegan, gluten-free, and dairy-free. Let's see how it goes. First of all, I have this beautiful pumpkin here. Got it from the farm right down the road. So I'm going to take off the stem, because we don't need that. And then I am going to try to get this little puppy cut in half. So let's see how well I do with this. Take out all these seeds. Okay, I've got my pumpkin seeded. Of course you can use canned pumpkin. I won't judge. So I'm going to place these in a baking pan. I'm going to add a little bit of water to the bottom of the pan, just so as the pumpkin begins to cook, if it's dry and the juices suddenly hit, the wet juices suddenly hit this hot Pyrex, there's a chance it could explode, and we don't want that to happen. Okay, I'm going to cover this with aluminum foil. Got my oven set at 450 degrees, and I'm going to put this in probably about half an hour to 45 minutes. I'll see you in a bit. Let's make some crust. So we need to replace egg, and for the crust I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of flaxseed and grind this up. And then add in 2 tablespoons of water and grind it up some more. All right. Okay, so ground flaxseed and water, 1 tablespoon of flaxseed to 2 tablespoons of water. Replaces 1 egg. And this is for the crust. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside for just a moment. Grab my almond flour that I had frozen. Now this is homemade almond flour that I ground myself from almonds. You can certainly buy the almond flour like the Bob's Red Mill. It tends to be a little finer, and so you won't have as rustic a style of crust, but it's still pretty nice. So I'm looking for 2.5, there it is. Looking for 2.5 cups of almond flour. There we go. Nice. So I'll pour this into my bowl. Add in my flax egg replacement. And then I have 4 tablespoons of melted vegan butter. You can also use coconut oil. Apparently, if you use coconut oil, you can expect the crust to be a little more crumbly than if you use the butter. And to sweeten it, I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, just a pinch of salt, and my favorite secret ingredient for a crumb crust is sesame seeds. I love sesame seeds in a crumb crust. It just gives it a little bit more of a kind of a crunch. So I think I'm going to go with, let's see, let's go with about a tablespoon. Yeah, about a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon is about what this is. Okay, then we're going to mix all this together. There we are. Then I've got these handy organic oil sprays. I love these things. I'm just going to spray my pie plate pretty well so it's all nice and coated. And add my crust dough. And then I just press this in until the bottom and sides are completely covered. And there you have it, the pie crust. So I'm gonna wait until the pumpkin finishes cooking, about another 15 minutes. And then I'll take the pumpkin out, bring the heat down to about, say, 350 in the oven, and bake the crust, blind bake it, for 10 to 12 minutes, I'd say. Let's poke some holes in the bottom just so that doesn't poof up. See you in a minute. While we're waiting for the pumpkin to finish cooking, I'm going to start preparing my spices for the filling. So I like to freshly grind my spices. Again, if you want to make this way easier, just go ahead and put in a couple of, maybe a tablespoon and a half of pumpkin pie spice. Anywhere from a tablespoon or a tablespoon and a half. You can go by your taste. All right, I'm going to take about 6 cardamom pods, 1 whole clove, really strong stuff, you got to be careful. And let's see, I've got some whole allspice. I'm going to do a half a teaspoon of whole allspice, 1/2 of a teaspoon of coriander seeds. Let's see, 1/4 of a piece, I think I've got a 1/4 piece in here somewhere, of whole nutmeg. Now, yeah, that'll be about 1/4. Nutmeg pods, or whatever they're called, they vary in size, so yeah, but they're pretty much about all the same size, pretty close. And let's go with about 1/2 stick of cinnamon. Looks good. Last but not least, let's put in somewhere around 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, maybe a little more ginger. Yeah, can't quite overdo that as long as you keep it on the reasonable side. Okay, I have my spice grinding blade, which is flat, in here, or you can use a mortar and pestle. Then I'm going to heat 1 tablespoon of coconut oil in a skillet until it's melted over medium to medium-high heat. The pumpkin has been in the oven for half an hour, and it's still a little underdone, let's put it that way. So I am going to take the aluminum foil off, or I took the aluminum foil off, and I am now going to allow it to cook for another 10 to 15 minutes uncovered until it's absolutely tender. Now, these spices, I am going to strain these over the oil because there's still, as you can see, some shells and some little harder kernels that, yeah, I don't want in my pie. I'm just going to get these to release their aromatics. just maybe 1 minute on the heat. Nothing too crazy. Here it comes. And there it is. You can smell it. You can smell it releasing. You don't want that to burn. So maybe even pour it out, because this is cast iron and it will continue to cook. All right, it took about 45 minutes for my pumpkin to cook to a point where I feel pretty comfortable taking it out and turning it into a puree. So I'm going to now, very carefully, because it's still pretty hot, take it out of the peeling by peeling it back. What I'm looking for is to get about the equivalent of a can. So a can is 15 ounces. So I am going to work through this flesh until I've got about that much. Okay, so that was like a medium pie pumpkin and pumpkin. And my southern showing. I only used about half of it. So I put in, it looks like about 20 ounces here. However, remember it's pureed in the can. So I'm gonna go ahead and puree it down with my immersion blender. Wow, that's pretty good. Okay, check it out. About 14 ounces. So the next steps are pretty simple. Because I'm not using eggs, I'm going to be using 2 teaspoons of arrowroot powder. There we are. And remember that oil and spices mixture that we released the aromatics from. We're going to add that in. Add in 2 tablespoons of water. And believe it or not, 1 tablespoon of vegan mayonnaise. Disclaimer, I have never done this before, but I saw it as an option and I just thought, brilliant. Let's try it out and see how it rocks. Okay, I'm going to give this all a good mix. This is to replace 2 eggs. Let's put it together. We're going to bring our puree into the scene here. If you watched my channel before, you're familiar with this. And this is the organic creamed coconut that replaces the condensed milk. So it comes in this plastic pack and it's very hard. So you have to warm it up. I like to just put it on simmer on the stove in a small saucepan. Just let it kind of start to melt up. There's still going to be a huge chunk, goink, of creamed coconut there. But that'll break up as we mix. And then of course our egg substitute mixture. I'm really interested to see how well this works. Okay, and then we just mix it all up. Make sure you break up that creamed coconut really well so that it's fully incorporated. We are going to need maybe about a quarter teaspoon of salt. And something to sweeten it with. Let's do a combination of coconut sugar and maple syrup. Okay, I'm thinking about a quarter cup each and maple syrup. All right, I'm gonna mix that in as well. Here's the pie shell that I already pre-baked. It went in for about 12 minutes before it started to feel like it was beginning to bake. And I'm seeing a little bit of browning here around the edges, which does concern me a bit. I think the almonds will tend to burn because this has to stay in the oven for about 30, maybe even 40 minutes. So I think I'm gonna wrap just a little bit of foil around the edges after I get the filling in. Perfect amount of filling, look at that. Yes. Okay, the edges are wrapped up and protected. And this is going to go in a 350-degree oven for somewhere around 30 to 40 minutes. Here we are. It's been 45 minutes. As you can see, the foil did its job. It kept the crust from burning. It's nice. Yeah, nice and crisp. Hopefully on the bottom as well. We'll see. I meant to put a pizza stone down, but forgot. And then we're going to insert a toothpick about 1.5 inches from the edge. And yes, that comes out beautifully clean. So it's really tempting right now to pull this out of the oven and slice right into it. However, I'm going to put it back in, and I'm going to close the oven door. And I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until tomorrow morning. So allowing that crust to cool down in the oven as the oven cools, hopefully will prevent it from cracking. And I will see you in the morning. Good morning. Before we pull the pie out of the oven to see what happened overnight as it was cooling, I just want to express in this Thanksgiving holiday time how grateful I am for your time. Thank you so much for the gift that I know that is. It's so precious. And I really want to stress that I want you to be safe this holiday season. I want you to be healthy. So please wear your masks, social distance, do all the things, wash your hands. Let's keep each other healthy and have more Thanksgivings and more holidays together in the future. That being said, let's look at the pie. Okay, here it is, and truth be told, I did peek in on it this morning, so I'll bring it a little bit closer to you. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, here's good. You see this right up here? So it's starting to pull away from the edge. And generally what that means is that I overbaked it a little bit. Luckily I didn't go too far. However, you do want, when you stick your toothpick in, you want to go about 1.5 inches from the edge. It should be pretty firm there, pretty set at the end of the baking time. But the center should have just a little bit of a wiggle. So if you shake the pie, you have that little wiggle, and because you're letting it cool slowly, it'll cook fully through as it's cooling. So a little learning experience, and we always love those, don't we? Well, maybe not always, but in this case, tool for growth. All right, so yeah, it's a nice pie. It's really pretty, just like this. However, we want to dress it up just a little bit more. I actually had some fun going through all of my inherited doilies my grandmother made, and I found the perfect one. Now, yeah, there we go. And then I'm just going to drape the doily over the pie, just like that. Okay, and then we're just going to sprinkle the powdered sugar in there pretty well. Trying to get all the doily holes. See if we can do this. All right, first of all, I'm just going to kind of bring in the edges because this is a rather large doily. Okay, roll this up. Roll this up and pull it off. Woohoo! And there's powdered sugar everywhere. But look, oh my God, he's so cute. Okay, the moment of truth. Let's see if this eggless thing worked and the pie is holding together once it's cut. Now I do suspect that the creamed coconut really helps with that, because as it cools, it firms up as well. So I think, well, the crust is certainly cooked. That's good. Yeah. Oh yeah, that feels super solid. Nice. Okay, so as I suspected, the crust is pulling away from the filling. So I overbaked it. I did. Oh, too bad. So definitely at about 30-35 minutes, start checking for that that little wiggle in the center. And let's see, I tried a couple pieces. They already fell apart though. So let's try one more here. Hope this works. Cross your fingers. Get a really nice piece out. Just for the photo op. There we go. But however, I want you to look at that filling. Yeah, that's nice and firm. Woohoo! Okay, we got a nice piece out. I will slide that out of the way and make a note for next time. The next pie, this is my test pie. It's a test pie. Because I didn't know how this this would act as far as the egg substitutes go. All right, I'm going to garnish this just a little bit more with some coconut cream. This is different than the cream coconut, so this is actual coconut cream from the can. Coconut cream, let's do a couple of pieces of mint from the garden. Let's actually just do this nice little, whoops, top of the mint. And get that in there. Oh, that's so pretty. And then also just a sprinkle of ground cinnamon should make it look really nice. Okay. Put the cinnamon up and we'll get in there and taste this bad boy. Okay, the true moment of truth. See how this tastes. I think the mayo gave it just a little bit of a, almost a citrusy kind of taste. Certainly can't tell there's no eggs. Yeah. That's pretty nice. Wow, it really holds its shape nicely. It's moist. Yeah, I'd certainly put this on the table. Guess I'm having pie for breakfast. Yum. Okay. Egg-free pie. I might suggest kicking up the spice level just a little bit. It's very pumpkin-y. But as far as the egg dilemma, Katie, I hope that answered your question. It certainly works. And remember, check that pie after about 30 to 35 minutes. Make sure it's still a little wiggly in the center. I definitely overdid it, so won't be doing that again. Okay, well, happy holidays. Happy pie making. I'd love to hear from you if you do make this pie or any of my recipes. I want to hear how it goes. I want to hear what you think. So, and again, thank you for your time and this opportunity to connect virtually. Until we meet again, be nourished, be inspired, and be transformed. I'm actually gonna go put some daytime clothes on now. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I said not to give.